Welcome back, folks. We are episode 9, and we are now going to go on our way to pick up one of the last pieces that we need in order to really be able to explore everything in the world. The X-ray scope. We're finally going forward. It's only been, like, we're almost halfway through the game, and we're still collecting this stuff. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. That's probably just fine, actually. A lot of games are structured that way. The X-ray scope is just barely inside of Brinstar from this side, from the Norfair's entrance side of Brinstar, so whoops. Those weird owly things. I call it an owly thing. You can sort of tell by how it was posed just there. Yeah, the X-ray scope's going to be real close, so we're going to be able to pick that up. And then the next place that we're going to need to enter, the next dungeon that we're going to have to go conquer, is the wrecked ship. We just have to head up here. I forget if I've said this before, but I always feel that the X-ray scope would have been a better piece of equipment to get really early in the game. I think if they had just done a little bit of rearranging of the equipment that you acquire out in the field, you know, it might have made a little bit more sense. Although, interestingly, it is worth saying that the X-ray scope is largely optional. It's still, I think, completely possible to go through this game just shooting wildly in every direction, and that way you'd be able to find all of the little secrets, or at least enough to be able to get through the game. I wouldn't feel like it would be reasonable to say that you cannot beat the game without the X-ray scope. If it was your first time playing this game, you probably wouldn't be able to do it, but I'd say if you already know how to play the game, there are a couple of pieces of equipment, 2 at least that come to mind, that you absolutely do not need to have. Oh, that's good. Good to know that the grappling beam can be used to kill those things. Alright, this is the room with the X-ray scope in it. There's no mistaking it. It's a little bit of a weird area, but we'll see why. X-ray scope. Alright, we gotta switch over there and hold A. And this is what we see. We see that there's a little tunnel behind the statue. Nice. Okay, well, I like this effect a lot. I think it works a whole lot more than if they were to just put like an overlay on so that you could see everything at once. It's a really nice effect to limit it to a very narrow section of Samus's vision. Really nice. And we gotta swing all the way back. This'll be done in a jiff. Man, they really set this place up so that you fail, eh? Whoop. And that doesn't make much sense, that we can freeze a light-emitting thingamajiggy. Whoops. But it'll still emit light. I mean, hell, I'll take it. It's a little bit weird. Okay, we have to head all the way back now. Now that we have the X-ray scope, we will be able to explore properly the wrecked ship, so I'm gonna have to head in that direction. Oh, hang on, so, yeah. Did you know that the grappling beam actually also works as a sort of a grabby beam? The grab beam. Whoops. Well, no. There. Alright, it's a short distance at this point. Because there's the elevator up in this area that leads us to the other side of Samus's ship, if you remember. Hasn't been all that long ago. Okay, good. Everything is finally set. I think in terms of equipment, we're only missing maybe 1 or 2 really important parts. Let's see. The gravity suit we're going to pick up in the wrecked ship. That's going to be coming up pretty soon. But we're going to head over to Samus's ship because it turns out that that's going to be the closest safe spot that we will have in front of what's going to what's there to face us in the next episode. Not in the next episode, but now that we're at 100%, we are going to be able to run all the way to the right. And we're just getting some. Oh, okay. I usually just assume that there's going to be a whole lot of wall in my way. Alright, another missile expansion just sitting out here. It's probably stale by now. These cracked grapple blocks, by the way, all that means is that they're going to break after a minute. Just see? Just like that. So you only have a few seconds to swing around on them before it's going to drop you. Slow motion. I really like that they added different physics. Oh man, but it's really rough. It makes perfect sense to have different physics when you're falling into water like this, but it's still, oh man, it's almost painful. Good. Oh man. Shh. This is the wrecked ship. It's completely dead in here. What a tonal change from everything so far, eh? That's something that I really love. Something art direction-y that I really, really love about old games like these is that the different sections feel completely different. There is no comparison. Such a contrast from the almost heroic sounding music just on the outside, eh? Yeah. Now that I have the X-ray scope, I may as well use it to the fullest ability. May as well use it as much as possible, just to justify the expenditure. Hang on there. Oh. We even have ghost enemies. Now that's a little weird. Some of these doors are functional, some of them are not. We have maybe a little bit of consistency issues. Okay, over here I think there's a missile expansion, but I don't know if we have access to it just yet. I'm gonna try though. Maybe I should have tried the X-ray scope on this and actually paid more attention. No, it's down there. Okay, it's right there. Right behind this dead robot. Okay, fine. We're going to turn around then and we may as well address the real business that is in this building. This wrecked ship, I should say. According to the instruction manual, this is a ship that crashed here on Zebes like a ton of years ago. It's from an ancient civilization, and nobody knows any more than that. Except maybe the boss. But I'm not about to ask him a question. There's that deadness again. The color changed. Whoop, boss door. Ooh, are you ready? Oh boy. Whatever this is has fire. Well, folks, this is Fantoon. I enjoy thinking that he's the ghost of a hot air balloon. Interestingly enough, though, he's actually the ghost of this ship. It says so in the manual. There's no refuting it. This guy hits like a truck, so it is super, super worth it to be very careful and shoot all of the fires you can so that you get all the power-ups. And every opportunity you have, you fill him so full of missiles. Just spray and pray. There's no sense in picking in trying to aim at this point, because the guy is so big anyway. This is a interesting boss fight because you really don't want to use super missiles. If you use a super missile, it hurts his feelings, and he starts raging out over you, and he might very well kill you because he starts using a different pattern for launching his fires. And it is possible to avoid it. There's a secret to avoiding that sort of pattern that he uses, but it's just much, much easier to just spray the regular missiles than to have to endure that flurry that he launches. You may notice that these fires have little eyes in them. That is surely not a mistake. That's gotta not be a mistake. Come on. Oh, we got him. Sweet. He's also got a very interesting death. Look at that. Look at this right now. It's a different animation. Well, no. Anyway, this is the second boss that we've taken down. The second major boss, I should say. We can now officially say that we are halfway done. And look, all of the electricity is back in the station. Now all of these little robot-y guys, they're alive again. I really like the robot-y guys. They're so useless. But they they look like an 80s future robot. In a way, I feel like I ought to be careful about what I say that might date this video. I have no idea what year anybody's going to be watching this video in. But anyway, at this point, right now, back in the 80s, the people who lived in the 80s, I should say, people who lived in the 80s had a completely different concept of what they thought the future was going to be, and it was going to have robots just like that. Robots that were really just men in costumes. Oh, good, an expansion. We're almost halfway done the super missiles. I believe with all of the expansions we're going to have something like 50. But I'm not going to go grab all of the expansions for the super missiles. I use them so infrequently it's not worth it. Well, we just downed the second major boss in this game. I think it's a pretty good save, pretty good time to save and let it go for the time being. Thank you for joining me, folks. I'm going to see you in the next episode. We're going to explore the rest of the wrecked ship.